Hi guys. First of all, let me apologize. The lighting in here is horrendous, and it makes me just look ridiculous. My bangs look like a weird shelf, so I apologize. It's getting toward evening here, and so the lighting isn't as good as it could be. I apologize. I need to figure out a better way to do videos, I guess, but for the time being. I want to do two videos today. This one is going to be fountain pens for newbies. I did the ink for newbies. Hope it was helpful. If anybody had any questions, shoot me some, but I want to do a fountain pens for newbies too. So if you're new to the world of fountain pens, this would be a decent place to start. And I'm going to show 5 different brands here that are really good and economical choices for people who are new to fountain pens. So the first one is the ever so humble Platinum Preppy. They are plastic. They have a clear barrel. They come with a cartridge in them. Um, but I use them as eyedropper fill. If you're a newbie, this may not be a choice that you want to explore, the eyedropper fill. There are a couple of drawbacks to that. If you don't keep it full, what happens to this air in here is that when you write with it or whatever, does get warm, and so the air expands, and sometimes you can get an ink bloop onto your paper. That's really not a big issue. It just lets you know that you need to fill your pen, and once it gets down to about 1/3 gone, like this one is, it's a really good idea to go ahead and top that off. So as much as you can, as full as you can get it without it overflowing, so that when the air expands, that doesn't do that to your paper. And what happens is a drop or two of ink will just come blooping out of the nib. It's not a big deal on the Platinum Preppies. It's more of a deal on the Kavekos, and I'll explain that in just a second. But Platinum Preppies are $4 a piece. They come in medium and fine. The nib color is the same as the cap color. So this one is black. This is a fine nib. And the way you know is that the fines on the cap are not marked. The mediums are marked 05 on the cap. So if I can get that where you can actually see it properly. This is a green one. Thus the nib. There you go. You can see it in the light. It catches a little bit. It's green. This one is red or pink. I'm not sure. It might be the pink one. Platinum Preppies are inexpensive. Whether you use them as cartridge or eyedropper fill, the eyedropper fill conversion is very easy. Brian Goulet on the Goulet Pens website has a really good video for that. I'll link Goulet Pens down here for you. It just requires an O-ring right here and then some silicone grease on the threads here. It's very, very easy. I like it, but I don't transport these pens anywhere. These are not with an eyedropper fill, I would not recommend transporting them. Now, I've never had an accident with any of my preppies at the house, but the potential is high for an accident, and when you have that much ink in a pen, the accident has the potential to be really disastrous. And it could be that you're carrying an ink that easily washes out. It could be that you're carrying a Noodler's Bulletproof. So it has the potential to be very disastrous. Also bear in mind that Platinum Preppy bodies are plastic and therefore not excessively sturdy. I haven't broken one. I haven't had one crack, but I'm pretty careful with my pens. So for $4, also know that Platinum Preppies, and Stephen Brown does a really good video on this, and I'll link his channel as well. And he does excellent pen reviews and stuff on other things, but the nib comes right out of this. I don't know if I can do it on this one or not without making big messes, but it comes right out, and Platinum Preppy sells different, yeah, it just came right out. Let me show you. So there's the nib. It slides right out of the body. I don't want to turn it upside down for obvious reasons. And you can get a marker tip, and you can get a highlighter tip that also goes in it. Then it just slides, it just pops right back in. It's that easy. So the same pen, if you like the color or if you're using a highlighter, you can use different tips and just replace the tips. The tips are available on the Goulet Pens website. And I don't know what I did with the rest of my pens, but anyway, so for $4, excellent pen. Jet Pens also sells them. I will link everything I talk about down here in the bottom. Not the specific product page, just look that up. But Goulet Pens sells them. Jet Pens sells them. They're available all over the place. Next, and they're $4 a piece. I think I mentioned that, but in case I didn't, $4 a piece. The highlighters I think are $2.50 if you purchase the highlighter itself. The fountain pens are more expensive. Next, the Kaweco Sport Classic. Kaweco is a German-made pen, obviously. They say Kaweco Sport. It's difficult to see. I have 3 of them. 2 of them I purchased myself. These 2. This one is a navy blue. It's difficult to see the difference between the navy blue and the black in this light. There you go. You can see it. And then the clear one. And I have a medium, a fine, and a fine. So I have 2 fines and a medium. The difference is not huge between the fine and the medium nibs in these, and not as pronounced certainly as the Platinum Preppy, but these have very, very smooth nibs. They're wonderful pens. They look tiny, they look bizarre, but let me show you what happens. You unscrew the pen, you post the cap, and you have a long enough pen now to write comfortably with. The Sport Classics have the gold nibs, which I don't particularly care for in any pen, but certainly when it's this brassy color, because it's not real gold. So when they're not real gold, they end up this weird brassy color, but I'm willing to overlook that because the pen is so fantastic. They come with a cartridge as well. They come with, I want to say Kaweco are proprietary cartridges because they're very, very short. There's not room in the barrel of this pen for a large cartridge or a converter. I've heard of people doing converter hacks for these. I have not tried it because what I do with these is also eyedropper fill. And you can see it better in this one, perhaps. Yeah, well, you can't see it all in the other ones, obviously. And it's Waterman Purple in that. These pens are fantastic for the eyedropper fill. However, let me give you a caveat. What can happen with these is that, particularly in the opaque barrels, you can't tell when your ink supply is getting low. And so, like I talked about with the Platinum Preppies, is that when you get, a third of the way down, then the air will expand. And what happens with these is very unfortunate. The ink comes out right here where the nib goes into the section. So what that means, I really thought that I had a mess when it happened because it happened on both of these pens. What that means, though, is that you need to add some more ink. So I just completely cleaned them, emptied them, refilled them, and I haven't had a problem since. So you just really need to monitor these, the Kawecos, if you're going to use them as an eyedropper fill. Very sturdy little pens. I used to pack them around all the time because they were convenient to drop in my bag, but since I had that leakage problem, I don't transport these anymore. The fine nib is really fantastic. Both nibs are very, very smooth. And let me make sure that I don't have ink in this. I don't. So what happens with these is it's easier to convert. All these take is a little silicone grease on the threads. You can't see the threads very well there. I apologize. It's a black pen, horrible lighting. You don't need the O-rings if you're going to convert the Kawecos. This is about between $22 and $25 pen. Again, Goulet Pens carries them, although I think they've tried to get rid of some of them. I noticed lately they've had them on clearance. Jet Pens does carry them. Fantastic little pen for the price. Excellent nib. The nib is not... I'm going to lie to you and tell you the nib is not interchangeable, but I think it is. I think you can change the nibs on these. But you can find that out on the website that I'm going to link for you. So for the $22, $25 range, fantastic little pen. We're going to go up a little bit now in price, but not much. The ubiquitous Lamy Safari. I know Brian Goulet says Lamy, people say Lamy, whatever. I'm always going to say Lamy. If it bothers you, fast forward. I have 3 of them. I have the charcoal that comes with a black nib and a medium nib, and the Kawecos are a Western nib, and the Lamys are a Western nib, obviously both German nibs. So they're going to run wider than the Platinum Preppies are for the most part. The medium nib on a Lamy Safari is very, very broad, very, very juicy. It's a little bit much even for me, and I like big juicy nibs. I would like to change this out. I just haven't done it. It's the black nib, and they can be harder to find. So this is a medium. These, for the price, they're what, like $27, and then Todd at I Sell Pens for a long time had, and I don't know if he still has, but you got the converter with them for the price of the Safari itself, and the Vista he did the same way. The converters for a Safari pop right out, and obviously this one needs to be filled. They have little notches there that you're not going to be able to see it. There's a little nub, yeah, you can see it right there, see on either side of the converter. Those slide into notches on the pen section itself. That slips right in there. The barrel screws on. For the price, it's a $30 to $35 pen. They come. This is probably the most versatile beginner pen. The nibs are interchangeable, so they come in anything from fine through broad, no extra fine through broad. Laney may not make a broad. I'm not sure. They come in extra fine, fine, medium. I know a 1.1 nib, a 1.5 nib, and a 1.9 nib. Those are all italic nibs. The fine nib and the 1.1 nibs are fantastic. I have those on the two colored ones. This one is a fine nib. Exact same converter, exact same thing. Obviously, I need to do some cleaning and filling, but they're sturdy. You can take them anywhere. The clip is actually useful. Even if you don't particularly care for the look of it, it's not my favorite clip design, but it is really useful. This, I think, this is the 1.1 italic nib. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it well. Not really. Let's see if I can get it any closer to the camera and have it focus. You're not going to be able to see it well. This is the 1.1 italic nib. Fantastic, very smooth. Lamy nibs are not the smoothest that I've used or that I own, but they're by no means scratchy, and I have never had a problem with. They can be hard starters. I was going to say I've never had a problem with ink flow or anything, no matter what kind of ink I've used. They can be hard starters, but it doesn't take them long to start. But sometimes I do have hard starts with the Lamies. But for the price, you can't beat that. And they come in all kinds of colors. This was a limited edition. This was also a limited edition. The charcoal they have all the time. The new one this year is an apple green. I forget what it's called. They come in yellow, white, blue, red, black. And then the All-Stars, which is basically the same pen except it has a metal body, come in different colors, and they also have limited editions. So just for the versatility of them, Lamy Safaris and Vistas are an excellent deal. Moving up the price scale just a touch, I'll get the other one out, these are new to me, fairly new, is the Monteverde Artistic Crystal. These are demonstrator pens. They are $36 at Goulet Pen Company. When I purchased them, they were $38 at Jet Pens. Keep in mind that Jet Pens has free shipping over $25, which is an excellent deal. These twist off posts. It's a pretty good sized pen. They only come in a medium nib. If you like fine nibs, you're not going to be pleased. If you're a newbie and you don't really know what you like, or you like juicy nibs, these are going to be brilliant for you. They have a really cool feature, and you can kind of see it there. They have a clear feed. The thing that delivers the ink to the nib is called a feed, and on these it's transparent, which is really neat because if you use a lighter ink, you can see the ink really well. And I think both of these have this is a little bit darker. This is J. Herbin Vert Empire. And I honestly don't remember what I put in this one. No, I know. It's Platinum Blue Black. So it's a little bit lighter. These are very sturdy. They're much heavier, much more substantial than I anticipated them being. A good portion of that is that the clip and stuff is not cheap plastic, or it does not feel cheap. The section here is a metal section, so that helps to add to the heft of the pen. They have clear converters as well, and you can see that even the twist knob that twists the plunger and the converter down is also clear. So it looks fantastic. $36 at Goulet, $38 at Jet Pens. Just a piece of thread, guys, nothing with the pen. This is a fantastic beginner's pen for the money. I like these much better than the Lamy Safaris because the nib is nicer and they're not as hard to start. But you don't have the versatility. It's only in a medium nib. You cannot change the nibs out to anything else. So if you're looking for something versatile in the same price range, Lamy Safari is a better bet. But these are fantastic looking. They also come in a pink and a clear barrel, which I think I'm going to pick up just so I can have a collection of something, a full collection. This is a fantastic little pen. Jumping up the price range from that, and this is the last beginner pen I'm going to show you. I should have grabbed them both. I have two of them. Is the Sheaffer Prelude. This is my favorite pen, still my favorite pen, and I have one pen that's more expensive than this, not by a huge amount, but originally the caps were switched because the chased palladium cap came on the medium nib and the black cap came on the fine nib. Not important. for the purposes of this. It doesn't matter. They're interchangeable, which is nice. But um, my favorite is the medium nib. Now this is also a German nib, so it's whiter and juicier. It's the Monteverde is not as juicy and wide as this or the Laney. It's a little bit finer medium. The fine nib on this is a pretty fine on the Prelude. Very smooth though, and I rarely ever have a hard start with the fine. It's harder to start often than the medium, but um, it starts pretty quickly. The medium, I've never ever had a hard start, no matter what ink I've used. This is the smoothest nib I own, and I have a Pilot Vanishing Point with a 14 karat nib, and I'm not showing that because I don't consider it a beginner's pen, and it's really one of my least favorite pens in practicality. But um, this Schaefer Prelude is my absolute favorite pen. The nib is smooth. The thing never hard starts. It has a metal body. It's pretty sturdy. The first day I got the fine nib. Sadly, I opened it, promptly dropped it on the floor, wrecked my nib. It was heartbreaking. But a wonderful person at FPN, which is Fountain Pen Network, I'll link that for you too, fixed it for me. So I was very, very thrilled. Loved it so much that I promptly ordered the medium nib. These nibs are smooth. This is the smoothest nib I own by far, even smoother than the 14 karat nib. Now, a smooth nib is not always the be-all, end-all. You may prefer a different type of nib, even though it's not as smooth as this. This is smooth like butter. Never, ever, ever a hard start, even when it has Noodler's ink in it. And as I discussed in my beginning ink video, Noodler's can be dry and can be it is a more high maintenance ink. No matter what I put in this pen, it just writes. It's amazing. It takes a while to unscrew this. This is also a cartridge converter pen, but the ink capacity on this converter, this also needs to be filled, is amazing. This is a huge converter. It holds just oodles of ink. I love this pen. This pen is about $50 to $55. Hang on just a second. I had a little ink spew out. That's because I pulled the converter out. It's not any kind of problem with the pen. These are around the $50 range for the chrome. Some of them have gold hardware, and I want to say some of them even have 14 karat nibs. But Goulet Pens is where I purchased this. Jet Pens doesn't carry these, but any good pen retailer should carry Schaefer Prelude. And Schaefer is, an old-time brand. It's now owned and made by Bic, but I have to tell you that I have not noticed, well, I don't have an older Schaefer, but this pen is fantastic for being a new pen made by Bic. It's just amazing. The very cap has a sort of a mother of pearl, little design in it. This one does as well. I'm not sure if all of them do, but both the palladium and the black have that little mother of pearl, and I'm sure it's fake. These are not expensive pens. For the money, for the $50, I would own one in every color. This is just an amazing, amazing nib. So there's a quick rundown. There are plenty of other pens that would probably fit in that beginner range, but I think these are a good place to start. Certainly good pens to look at. All of them are good performers. Even the Humble Platinum Preppy is a fantastic performer. So I don't think you can go wrong with any of the pens I showed you. If you have any questions, let me know. I will link all the sites that I talked about down here for you, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.